Hi, I'm Isaiah Pohl from ourfuture.org, and I'm here with Sara Robinson, and we're going to talk about the America's Future Now conference, which was just held here in Washington. Sara, what did you get out of the conference?
I got a big sense of progressive disenchantment and yet recommitment. The broad understanding that the fight is not over, it has only just begun. Obama told us that going in. He said, I can't do it. No, it's going to be up to you guys to make this change happen. He meant it. I don't think a lot of us heard him in all the excitement, but we are hearing him loud and clear now, and it's time to step up, and we're going to make him do it. We're going to have to make him do it. Another thing that I heard was interesting. There's an awareness that confronting corporate power may in the end not be the strategy that works. The word localization came up a lot. People are moving back to local politics. This is a big trend right now with the millennials in particular. But people are understanding that their future that Washington won't bail them out because the corruption is too thick on the ground. That Wall Street is sure as heck not going to do anything to help them. It is up to us now. And so organizing inside our communities to make ourselves safe, to make ourselves resilient, to protect our food supplies, to make sure that people are housed and sheltered and have health care, multi-generational households. I think this is, as a futurist, this I think is a dominant trend that is going to be really emerging over the next 10 to 20 years. And I think it is in the end how we confront the power. We don't confront it, we subvert it by moving our money, as Ariana says, by doing all these things that take power out of that system and bring it back down to where we can put our hands on it.
There was a lot of conventional wisdom that progressives don't have the same level of energy as people on the right, the Tea Party movement, etc. Did you find that to be the case?
I think it is the case. I mean, certainly if you look at the video of people at CPAC, and CPAC, which is held in the same hotel in March, it's the complementary conference on the conservative side, and it's a revival meeting. It's run like a tent meeting, and it's very much programmed and engineered to have that revival, kind of tent revival feeling to it. And ours doesn't feel anything like that. And I think what we are missing is the prophetic voice. We have the facts, we have the figures, we have history on our side, we have a rising generation that believes what we believe. There's a deep current of history that is going our way. But what we don't have yet, we know that there are problems, and we're sort of kind of wallowing in those problems. We have not yet had anybody come forward in that prophetic kind of voice like Martin Luther King had, like FDR had, like Robert Kennedy had, and shown us in a positive, confident way that it's okay to let go and to reach out for the future, because here's what it's going to look like on the other side. And it's good, and it's seductive, and it's sexy, and everybody wants to go there. I think in our heads we all have this planet progressive that we all kind of live on. It's why we're progressive.
Yeah.
But as a movement, we have not all owned our inner planet progressive. I mean, we haven't had leaders who've really been visionary in describing that for us. We haven't had artists. We haven't seen the movie yet. That really shows us that world and makes us want to live in it. And I think that's the next step for progressives, is to articulate in a really hopeful and powerful way to show them the world that we want to build.
If President Obama, who a lot of people thought would be that prophet, is not going to step up into that role, how do we go about identifying that person or set of persons?
History has a way of filling those vacuums, and I think we do have those people. Al Gore certainly, has had the potential and had the effect of one of those visionaries. I think Van Jones has still tremendous potential. Phaedra Ellis Lampkins.
Yeah, she had a wonderful speech at the conference.
We do have these prophetic voices, and I think it's time for us to really bring them forward and put them on the national stage, because the ability to move, that great liturgical tradition that you and I both come out of, where you stand up and you know how to move people, grab them by the guts, and make them go.
Right.
That is the soul, and there's a progressive religion. There is a spiritual force that makes us, even if we're atheists, there are things that we hold sacred, things that we believe in, that are a piece of how we think about the future. And appealing to those things is what really inspires people to create the kind of change we're looking for. Obama has that gift. He uses it very, very selectively. He is a visionary, but he's not a fighter. We need our fighters too. Phaedra's a fighter.
Okay.
And we need those kinds of people, that kind of rhetoric. It's time. And I think if we start looking, we will find that we have them in our midst. We just haven't really used them yet.
Okay. I'm curious about what you plan to do now that the conference is over. How are you going to carry the vision that you've caught?
I'm doing my bit. As the only futurist working in the progressive end of it, actually, the conservatives have futurists, they do. Regent University has a whole school of future studies that is turning out religious and social futurists for the conservative movement. And some of my professors, in fact, were people who have worked with this, but on the conservative side. They're good friends. We're very collegial. And some of my most potent teachers have actually come out of that end of it. But there's nobody working in the progressive side. So right now I'm working with the Progressive Ideas Network, which is a project of Demos. We are beginning the process of putting together a futures survey, a landscape of all the things, all the pieces, the moving pieces that are conspiring to bring us to the future of 2040. And 2040 is an important year because it's the year that America, if current demographic trends continue, will become a majority-minority country, thereabouts. It could be a little later. There's the numbers are in some question, but that's the trend.
Sure.
It's the year that the millennials will be in their 40s and really coming into their political prime, and be driving the agenda of this country in a really direct, hands-on way. They will be the juggernaut that really defines who we are. At that time, by 2042, also the environmental chaos that we're just starting to see, the breakdowns, will be in the full teeth of them. Whatever choices we have made or not made in the next year or two, we will be living with the consequences full on by then. So it's a good time to look ahead. And also, 30 years, most of us will still be here. And if we're not, our children will definitely be here.
Right.
So it's a time that's far enough away that we can make some ambitious plans, and close enough that we all have a real stake in the outcome. So it's a good thing for progressives to look at this time frame and see what we can do between now and then. So I'm working right now with the Progressive Ideas Network, which is a group of leaders and thinkers from all the various progressive think tanks. And we're putting together a vision, a landscape of the survey, or survey of the landscape. Excuse me. It's a long day.
Yeah.
And we'll be coming out with some ideas. I'll be starting to write about the things that I find over the next several months. There may be a book in it next year, just talking about what's driving our future. And a lot of what I'm finding is very hopeful.
That's great.
Yeah, I think the deep tides of history are on our side. There's a lot of conservative noise and pushback, but I think they've got some reckonings coming that they're desperately trying to avoid themselves.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Sara, for talking with us today. And for those of you who are watching this video, be sure to go to ourfuture.org/now to get a recap of what happened at the America's Future Now conference, where we have video, blog posts, and other material so that you can re-experience the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Isaiah.